good. I am so sorry. My husband and I were on a ski trip.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and um, I thought we were going to be, we were going to be good, but you know how it is.
yeah, yeah. And I don't have a problem with that. I know how important family time is. So yeah, I was happy to wait until you got back.
Well, thank you. I do
Yeah,
appreciate it. And
yeah.
I'm not normally like this.
No,
So
no, no. I get it. I get it. It's hard to take time away because you have so many things pulling at you.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, I can only imagine. So you have 8 conventions this year. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And that's just the Mania. And then tell me again. So you have the Women's Leadership Forum that starts on Thursday. It's a pre-conference. So
Well, yeah, we've actually got at the Manias, we run 14 sessions every hour on the hour. But we've added 3 sessions that we run that are specifically for owners, managers, and directors. And
okay,
so they're regional. They're like AFS, but regional. And
okay,
hopefully, we're really hoping Josh is going to be one of our presenters. He's already said that he probably will be at Midwest,
okay,
and if not more. And so we run 3 sessions every hour on the hour that are dealing with programming or leadership or trends or marketing, things that owners, managers, and directors need. And
right,
they're small little rooms. So
okay,
we only get, let's say, between 10 and maybe 25 people in each lecture room. I'm going to even say 5 to 25, depending on how, our big show in Dallas, Atlanta, and Chicago, or our smaller shows in Philadelphia and Boston.
hmm,
And we've got these great presenters that come in. Actually, you may be interested in coming in and presenting
yeah,
because
absolutely,
because people want to hear about, can podcasts grow your business and things like that. And then what we do as a pre-conference to every Mania, we offer about 30 different certifications. Um, and I'm sorry, I'm silencing my watch and my
yeah,
phone and stuff. And we offer a lot of them are ours. At least 25 of them usually are ours, and another 10 or so are from sponsors. And then we offer the Women's Leadership Summit, which we're really excited that we're partnering with AFS on that, and we're doing that for them at their conference out in Irvine, California on April 30th, the
okay,
Thursday before their event. And we do them the Thursday before our Mania events. And
okay,
they're very inexpensive. They're regularly $100. We're charging, what is it, half price, $49.50.
yeah,
And it's just a full day with either social media and leadership strategies or marketing, trends, how to open and manage your boutique studio efficiently. Ann Gilbert's doing that. She's also presenting at AFS and Manias. So it's a nice little one day, 8 hour.
yeah, yeah, a little powwow.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. For the chicks in charge.
The
That's,
chicks in charge. I like that.
yeah. Yeah.
So when is the Midwest one, and where
The
is it?
Midwest one is in October. And let's see, I should know the dates on these, shouldn't I have these all memorized?
No,
Um,
it's too many.
October 2nd through 4th. And it's right in Rosemont,
Oh, okay.
right near the airport.
Oh,
We
nice.
we love we try to take really good care of our attendees. So we have not very nice hotels, like it's at the Westin. We're at about 4 Grand Hyatts, and we're at a Fairmont and a Lowe's. We're at higher end hotels, but we
Uh-huh.
get really discounted rates and very inexpensive parking because 90% of our participants drive.
Okay, got it. No, I like that. That sounds great. I would definitely like to attend that. So what are some of the other, well, I wanted to, before we get into that, I don't want to get into too much of the show before we start, before we lead that in, but I want to talk about the Manias. First of
Mhm.
all, your resume, the Manias, and then we can break into the Women's Leadership Council. or forum, and then kind of break that out and what's your mission behind that, and what you'd like to see happen with it, where you want it to go, things like that.
Cool.
Okay, so I'll do the read-in, and then I'll bring you in. I'll do the read-in, and then your resume, not your whole resume because we don't have that much time, but do your resume, then bring you into the show.
Okay.
Awesome.
Oh, and just so you know,
Uh-huh.
my little niece, she's actually my little cousin, is here. If she pops in, I'll try to just.
Like I said, I understand. I have a 3-year-old, and I was doing a podcast with Mike Arce. You know Mike Arce?
Yeah.
And it was a snow day, so I had to pick him up from school. And of course, he didn't go down for his nap, so I had to take breaks to go get him and bring him back. So I totally understand.
Okay.
All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Masters in Fitness Business Podcast, where you get to stand on the shoulders of giants. And today I have a giant coming to you from a female giant coming to you from the great state of Chicago, otherwise known as Illinois. But Sara Kooperman, and if you don't know who Sara Kooperman is, let me lift that rock that you've been living under, because she's been in the fitness industry for over 35 years. And she started the MANIA conferences and has been doing those for over 30 years. She's hosting 8 conferences alone this year in the United States. So she knows what she's doing. It's a big organization. She educates a lot of people, and she's very passionate about her mission, which we're going to talk about today. And specifically, she's hosting the women's, let me get this right, Women's Leadership Forum as a pre-conference to AFS Succeed Conference. So did I get all that right, Sara?
Yeah, you did a fine job. Fine job.
Great. Well, welcome to the show. I'm so excited. I know you're really busy, so it was definitely some scheduling gymnastics to get you on the show. So I'm happy we got you on the show.
Yeah, thank goodness you're the flexible one. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So tell us a little bit about how you got into the fitness industry, how you started the MANIA conferences, and what they're all about, and how they've grown.
Well, we started about 37 years ago. We started doing instructor training workshops. Uh-huh. Before that, I'm actually a licensed attorney. So I had started as an undergrad kind of dancing and taking political philosophy courses and blah, blah, blah. And I tried being a professional dancer with a dance troupe. Yeah, not in a strip bar, in a dance troupe. And I loved it, but I was entirely bored. That sounds terrible, but I hated staring at myself for 6.5 hours a day. It was horrible. So I knew I wanted a career. So,
and let me interrupt you real quick to let the listeners know that you are extremely intelligent. You went to undergraduate at Cambridge University, correct?
Right. I was at McAllister College in Minnesota, and I spent my summer and senior year at Cambridge University in England at King's College, the same place the Prince went.
Oh, wow.
So, and I remember when Princess Di got engaged. When they got engaged, I have their little wedding plates and everything that, of course, my mother chipped and threw out, but amazing experience.
I can only imagine.
And when I started the dancing, I was just bored. And so I ended up kind of, through the dance group, I started teaching. And although I didn't love staring at myself in a mirror and I didn't love performing on a stage, I adored teaching. It was who I was. So I started teaching, and then aerobics started. This tells you how old I am and how old the industry is. And I started teaching aerobics. And I did that because I was also, I was a runner, and I thought, well, I'm a dancer, I'm a runner, I can figure this stuff out. So that's where I started. And then when I was in law school, I really loved law school. I loved the thinking process of it all, but I kind of thought
And
in the back of my
I'm
brain.
going to interrupt you again that you went and graduated from Washington University Law School, which is a stone's throw away from my club, Catalyst, I'm in the office of right now. But it's one of the toughest law schools to get into. You have to score really high on your LSATs and have an
Yeah,
impressive resume. Yeah,
either
go ahead.
that or sleep with someone incredibly important, but I chose to take the exams. But but while I was in law school, aerobics really started taking off. And I thought,
Mhm.
I think this is a great business to go into. And so my husband, who was my boyfriend in law school, was great. He was very supportive. And he said, you know what, go for it. If you think this will work, go for it. So I opened a studio, and the studio, it's very hard to make a boutique studio work, especially downtown Chicago. But one day I did an instructor training workshop with a friend of mine that came over from California. And I made more money in one day than we made in the whole month. And I said, there is no instructor training out there. And I see a niche, and I know we can make this work. So we started doing individual workshops. I sold the studio, and I started doing not just individual workshops, but partnering people together, like 4 different presenters, calling it Chicago's Finest. And then we have 70 presenters, and we started doing what we call the MANIA convention, because it's insane. There's over 200 sessions in the entire conference, and between 14 and 17 going on simultaneously. It's just craziness, but it was really fun. And I have a wonderful, very solid team that helps us run these conferences. And one event did well in Chicago. So we went to Dallas, and we went to Atlanta, and then we opened up in San Francisco, Boston, Philadelphia, and it,
On and on.
yeah. And it's been very successful, and it's really fulfilled kind of a mission, is training instructors how to teach. And that really led into the Women's Leadership Forum. It's, when I started in business, there were no female mentors. All my mentors were male. They
Sara,
didn't have the same issues I had with how do I deal with a hotel staff that won't look me in the eye because I'm a woman. So they look my operations director or my registration manager, talk to him, because I don't know, I can't even say I'm wearing a skirt. It's just because I'm a woman. And how do I balance my kids and my family and my husband? How do I push my career forward, accept failure? Because girls aren't trained in that. If you fail, you get out and you get on with something else, So I feel this mission kind of to help women out there. I have 4 kids. I have 4 boys. So they're going to make great husbands, I'll tell you that. But I have no girls.
Yeah.
So it's kind of my personal mission to really help women actualize and expand themselves professionally.
Yeah, I think that's a great mission. Speaking of someone who was raised by a single mom and saw the struggles that she went through, I can definitely relate to that. And I also wanted a girl, and I have 3 boys. So we're in the same boat there. So I feel your pain, although somebody told me God just decided that I wasn't equipped to raise girls, which there might be some truth to that. But so going back to your MANIA, when did you know? And I want to focus mostly on the Women's Leadership Forum, but one question that I have is, when you started the MANIA, the instructor training, at what point did you realize, okay, there's something here, this can really be something big, and it's about to take off?
Um, when we did the conference, we're very selective about our presenters, because we want, not only do they have to be talented, but they can't just present and kind of run back to their hotel room to do well, back then it wasn't emails. It was snail mail. It was working in other ways.
Uh-huh.
There wasn't even fax machines when we started. But these were people that really wanted to pass on their craft, that gave people their choreography, that gave them the new exercise regime, that opened up the kimono and said, try this trend, try that trend, you know, try to break up your membership fees into monthly payments. Remember when that was new, you know? So it was people that were really willing to share and watch the industry grow. And it wasn't a sense of competition. That's what I felt as a dancer. Oh my gosh, if you were, you know, I was tall, I was thin, whatever, they stare at you like you're the enemy. And I'm like, I'm in your dance troupe. I'm not your enemy. I'm your partner. So I think really realizing that these people do want to share with each other, that your gym is not in competition with the Gold's Gym in St. Louis, is not in competition with the Y. 85% of the population doesn't exercise. So let's all reach out with our unique selling propositions and pull more people in to become healthier. And I think when I saw the camaraderie that was growing, that probably inspired me more to continue on. And I also saw that, you know, Jim, we were talking earlier, 90% of our attendees drive to our events. 90%. It's more important for us to have free parking than it is to be near an airport, right? Mm-hmm. But these people, they want to come, and some of them can't take the time. They've got, you know, the husband and the 4 kids like I do. They can't take the time, spend the money on the flight, blah, blah, blah. And they want to stay in a hotel that's really nice, that's affordable, that you can throw 3 or 4 people in a room and get educated. Or if you're a trainer, I only want to go on Friday because I got clients on Saturday and I'll come back on Sunday. So make it convenient and affordable.
Yeah, I love that. I love that mission statement, because that is exactly the mission statement of this podcast. Because in the fitness industry, it's the same. You know, everybody wants to keep their super secret lunge close to their chest. And in reality, as a lunge is a lunge. You know, squat is a squat. You know, so there's no real secret sauce except for the individuals. And so everybody's kind of, it's a real competitive environment and a lot of just infighting. And so I wanted to create that collaborative environment where we could all share and all benefit from the collective knowledge and grow together. So I really love that message, because that's the mission behind this podcast, is to create that collaborative environment. So I love that. So let's talk about the Women's Leadership Forum. So you were talking about some unique issues that women face in business, in particular the fitness industry. So what are some of those issues that they have to deal with?
Well, I think I just touched a little bit on that there's still a lot of people out there that are old school, that don't see me as the owner, because maybe I'm kind of friendly and I'll chat and they just don't see it. This happens all the time at hotels, which kind of blows me away. And so I have to learn how to navigate through this environment, you know, and it can't be that angry woman, you know, because an angry man is an angry man, an angry woman, put a B in front of that word, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I have to learn how to navigate through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think girls are trained in such a way that no means no. You know, be pretty, dress clean, don't make mistakes, don't fall, don't get dirty. And in business, no does not mean no. No means not now. No means make me a second offer. Making a mistake, falling down, getting dirty, I don't have to leave and go change my dress and come back in a different, you know, I can get dirty and I can stay dirty and I can work through it. So there's certain things that were hard for me to learn and experience. And I've been lucky enough that My dad was a wonderful supporter. My husband's a wonderful supporter. I work with men that don't see gender, don't see sexual orientation, I don't care if you're blue and green and who you sleep with. I don't care. Do your job, do it well, be respectful, build a team. And so those are some of the stuff that we encounter. And I do believe that sometimes women, be seen and not heard. So they get a little bit, and these still are things that girls are raised with. And so when we get into this kind of all female environment, there's a little bit more sharing sometimes that'll go on. And also I think it's important, women are competitive with other women, and this is encouraging a little more collaboration. I'm very, very involved with the Women in Fitness Association. The abbreviation is WIFA, W-I-F-A. And I'm on their board. I've been on their board. This is my second term. And I love doing it because they have an awesome mentorship program. It's very inexpensive to join WIFA. But I see through that organization that it's that collaboration of women, the mentorship program they have, the events, here's a job opening, let me recommend it to so-and-so. And a lot of times the women are kind of passed over if there is a job opening at a higher level. So it's a way to push the opportunities up.
Gotcha. That's interesting that you say that, because obviously I can't speak to women's issues, and I'm not even going to try to. But when I hear you describe it, it sounds like there are cultural stereotypes that hold both men and women back. When you talk about men, the old school, women should be seen, not heard, but it's also coming from the women's side. They've been raised to, this is how a woman acts, this is what a woman says, this is how a woman dresses, this is what a woman does. So it's like those cultural stereotypes that have to be overcome on both sides of the fence.
Right. And there's a great statistic, Harvard Business School came up with this, that said a woman will not apply for a job unless she feels she has 100% of the qualifications, which is, in my mind, means you have already accomplished this job. You need to be trying to get something higher. But if a man applies for a job, all he needs to see that he has is 60% of the qualifications. Either, and in my mind, in interpreting that, I look and I go, that's perfect, because then you got 40% to learn and grow and achieve. And that is, I think that I've seen that be very true, even in my own company. And I've also seen that I see a lot of women rising up within managerial roles, but that entrepreneurship, that willingness to take that huge risk, 50% of the women that graduate, 50% of the people that graduate from college are female. 50% of the people graduating from graduate schools are female. 4.6% of the of CEOs are female. Like, what happened to the other 45.5%? It's like, it's really different.
So,
and I think in the fitness industry, it also go ahead, Jim. Sorry,
no, I was just going to say, so they kind of fall victim to those social stereotypes we just talked about. On both sides, in that they're not trying or applying for the CEO position, and then men aren't looking at them as CEO. So it's a double-edged sword.
Right. And it's in the fitness industry, a lot of ex-jocks go in and they're aggressive and they're used to a team environment, and they kind of can joke in the locker room yet compete on the field. And we're not raised that way. Like, when I was growing up, the only team sport was field hockey, and those girls scared the hell out of me, right? So, or we have like ice skaters, which are incredibly competitive, and it's a very mental one-on-one. Or for me, it was a dancer. it wasn't, they didn't have football and baseball and soccer like they have now.
Right.
And I think that I think, I see things changing, and I'm very positive about that. So
Yeah.
I enjoy pushing it along. Our women's leadership forums are really small and intimate. We'll get, honestly, at our smallest event, we'll get like 14 people, and at our larger ones, we'll get about 30. So it's
Okay.
very small. And we have between 4 and 5 presenters at each of these women's leadership forums. So it's not like a moneymaker for SCW at all,
Yeah.
but it's so gratifying. And I get emails and text messages. I get handwritten notes that say, you've changed my life, blah, blah, blah. So-and-so sharing her story on, whatever it's very rewarding. You get to a point in your career where I love that Manias have been so financially successful, as well as our certifications. And now we do streaming certifications. We're always on cutting edge for technology. But, you got to feed your soul, and you got to give something back. And and that's why I'm really enjoying working with AFS, because I feel like the boutique studio market is very heavily female, not meaning over 50% by any stretch of the imagination. It's probably 40%, but it's taking a risk on an individual studio is a little bit easier, shall we say, than opening a full force gym or a franchise.
Right.
So I'm really excited about doing the AFS. We're doing the Women's Leadership Forum on the Thursday before the AFS conference. So we'll be Thursday, April 30th, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to be there as well. I want to try to record some of the sessions, and then, like we talked about, and chop them up into little kind of in-between episodes of the podcast, which I think will be great for our listeners. But it's interesting you talk about the fitness studio space, because I know in personal training, we specialize in small group personal training. That's our bread and butter. I would say 60 to 70% of our clientele is female, and that's not unique. I think that's pretty much industry-wide. It's mostly female clientele, but a primarily male-owned industry.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
Yeah, so I think it behooves us to take into consideration the women's point of view when making business decisions, since that's our demographic, so to speak.
Well, and that's like you asked me, I don't know how many minutes ago, like, where did I get this inspiration, or how did we grow from one show? And then every 6 weeks we do a conference, and we're constantly told how well organized we are by the presenters, how well taken care of they feel. The attendees know our front desk people. They know Jane and Claudio. They've worked with us for, oh my God, over a decade. Denise, who runs our staff assistant and event, Mike, Robin, who are working at the booth. Mike's our ops director. We've got these amazing people that come back like show after show, but it's our attendees at the conference, 85% female for the exercise portion, for the instructors and the trainers. And then we get about a 40-60 for our business summit. We offer a health and fitness business summit that runs directly in tandem with the MANIA event, where 3 sessions are being offered every hour on the hour for 3 days. So it's like 50 different sessions, 30 different presenters. We've got panels in there on trends and leadership strategies and nutrition promotions, stuff like that. But it's just, so we'll get 40% men and 60% women. So we're getting more men in that ownership and management roles. Okay. But I think the reason MANIA really excelled was we have a lot of women in leadership positions in SCW, and we know what we want. you know?
Yeah.
So maybe that's how it kind of expanded. And I
Right.
do think that in a lot of ways, women will go more frequently to a physician and would also go more frequently to a trainer or to a class, like to ask for that help.
Hmm.
You know, we don't have friends that I can say, hey, let's just shoot hoops Friday night. You know, it's like we don't do that. I'll meet at a yoga class. So I think that's, you know, the group atmosphere, the personal training atmosphere, because women will ask for more help, they become in a lot of ways, our bread and butter.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Women are much more willing to ask for help. Men, they don't need to anymore. I think they invented GPS technology just so they don't have to pull over and ask for directions. Just use the GPS. I don't have to ask that guy. I know how to get there. But so I think that's a great point. So, and then what made you, how did the partnership between Josh and AFS come about with yourself and the MANIA and the Women's Leadership Conference?
Well, I knew Josh's dad from
Okay.
years and years and years ago at URSA. And I always just talked to him, like him, nice guy, just nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met Josh, oh my God, where were we? You know, frankly, I think we might have been at the IDEA convention. It was either the IDEA convention or URSA. And we sat down and we were chatting. And we both kind of looked at each other and said, we've got to work together. We have to figure something out. And because it's like mutual admiration society, I really like the AFS idea. I think sometimes people cannot go to, I love URSA. I go to URSA every year. So I'm not, I don't want to badmouth them in any way, but I
Two
remember
different
going to
industries, though. They're two different industries. I'm sorry, they're two different industries, URSA and AFS.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there is substantial overlap because
Yeah.
there never used to be an AFS.
Mm-hmm.
We used to only have URSA, and I have to spend $400 for one day, or almost $600 to $800 for the whole event, and I got to fly there, and I got to stay in a hotel, and it was killing me.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at AFS, and I'm like, it's $250, you know, around there, whatever. And I'm getting amazing presenters, and it focuses more on my boutique. So you're right. It doesn't, I think URSA can incorporate a little bit more and add, like if you are a boutique studio owner and you want to go to that incredible expo, oh, definitely go. Mm-hmm. But I think with the education, I really enjoy the AFS offerings. And I think it speaks a little bit more clearly to that independent club owner and that boutique studio owner.
Yeah, I agree. And they have the same philosophy that MANIA does, in that they want the presenters to be out and about, to be accessible, to share their information, to know that they're approachable, they're real people, they're willing to help and share their information, which I really like as well.
Yeah, because it's not about sharing your successes when you get to a certain point. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not about that. It's about saying, okay, here's how I screwed up, but this is what I did to get around it.
Right.
Because frankly, what I do in my business is I take all my successes and I try to replicate them. But it's the problems, it's the issues, it's the mistake, it's the whoops, I didn't mean to do that, or why in the world did I spend this money here? Mm-hmm. How am I going to recoup it? It's those mistakes where I can say to someone, if you're going to do it, just make sure you can lose it. Mm-hmm. You know, just make sure whatever you're going to risk, you can afford to lose, and try everything you can, and you're going to fail 9 times out of 10. And all you need is one koosh ball. I just need one koosh ball. I need, you know, luckily with MANIA, it played off very big, but you know, there are some things that just have fallen miserably by the wayside.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to pretend that I know what a koosh ball is and just kind of go along with that. So, but I agree with you. My oldest son.
All right. Wait.
Koosh
All
ball.
you need is one TRX.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, got it.
All right.
But my oldest son was in a spelling bee, and he got knocked out by strawberry. He was in 5th grade, I think.
Oh,
But it bugged him so much, and to this day he can spell strawberry because that's the one he missed. And it's those failures that have the most impact on us and really drive us and motivate us to be better when we take lessons from them and move forward. So I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I was just in a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I lost. And let me tell you, I ruminated over that for like a week. Like, what could I have done? So I know going in my next tournament, I'm going to be much, much better. But so you guys said, let's team up. And then how did the Women's Leadership Forum come about?
well, they weren't offering it. And I
Okay.
can't remember if Josh brought it up to me or I suggested it to him. But and maybe I might have been talking to his dad. That I don't know. But I think, actually it might have been, I was talking with Chuck's Josh's dad,
Uh-huh.
at Club Industry, because Chuck is still involved. And I think it was a Club Industry in Chicago, actually. And we started chatting, and I said, well, I would love to do presentations for you. And it would be great for us because we have a business summit, but we're not out in Irvine, California. We're up in, we'll do San Francisco, but that's 8 hours away. That could be 2 states apart.
Right.
California is so long.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that would be great. And they said, why don't you do this? And there are some great presenters that are doing this for AFS. We've got Lindsay Vistola, Marisa Hoff, Ann Gilbert. I'm going to be doing it, and there's 2 other presenters, and I'm probably being stupid and forgetting their names. And I know it's somewhere, and I'm going to look it up on my phone before I make an idiot of myself.
Yeah, I saw the presenter list. It's pretty impressive.
Yes.
And
Yes.
are you able to go through those presenters as far as what they have to offer, what they're going to be sharing at the Women's Leadership Forum?
Yes, I can.
Because
I know.
another reason I wanted to have you on the show is that I've seen lots of statistics, and the statistics for podcast is 80-20 men to women.
Really?
Women don't listen to podcasts.
Oh, I listen to them when I'm walking my dog.
Yeah, but you're probably part of that 20%, but I think that may be growing, especially like you said, with the younger generation. I think that barrier is coming down, but man, I would love to get some penetration into the market,
Wow.
that
Well,
demographic.
Lindsay Vistola is going to be talking about the pathways to fitness leadership. Sally Edwards, who's creator of Heart Zones, she's going to talk about learn to use your superpowers. And she's talking about goal setting and stuff like that, which is wonderful. Lisa Simone Richards, she's a publicist for the fitness business owners. She's going to lecture on stop chasing clients, get them to chase you. We've got social media being addressed by Marisa Hoff, who's Director of Operations for Stevenson Consulting. Marisa's presented for us she's wonderful. And then we've got Ann Gilbert, who not only is a good friend of mine, right now, she used to own 3 Shapes Fitness for Women. She ended up closing one. She owns 2, and she's invested in, ready for this, 70 other fitness facilities. Brilliant woman, just brilliant. And I'm going to talk about trends in fitness programming. And then we close with a panel so that people can ask questions on marketing through social media, or sales, or opening and closing a studio, or what new programming through trends they should offer. And our goal, to be honest with you, all we want is 20. Okay. We want to keep it intimate. It's very intimate. It's very affordable.
I'm sorry, Sarah. Come here, Deb. Come here. You know, you talked about your niece. This
Uh-huh.
is my general manager, Debbie. Say hi,
Hi.
Debbie. She was the one I was telling you about for the podcast idea.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
All
No,
right.
that's very cool.
Bye, Deb. All right. So I'm sorry. Go ahead and I interrupted you.
No, no, no. So it's a full day. It starts at 9 a.m. It actually ends up finishing at 4:30. So it's a nice. You can check in at 8:30. You're out of there by 4:30. It's 50% off now. It used to be $99. It's $49.50 for all AFS participants, which is great. And they can register. It's we put it on our website. It's scwfit.com/AFS women. One
Got
word,
it.
AFS women. So it's a great way for people to register, and it's a great thing that they can attend. And then all these presenters are also going to be presenting on different topics at the AFS conference. So they're hanging around. So if you want to chat afterwards, we always end up hanging around at least a half an hour. People are hugging each other. One woman will always burst into tears. Don't know which one, but it will. I hope it's not me, but somebody always does. They leave rejuvenated. It's great.
That's nice. So, so it's 8 hours of great speakers, great information about the Women's Leadership Forum. It's $50, which you can't beat for one day, 8 hours, all those presenters. I mean, you'll pay more than that just for one of those presenters at an event.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a great.
All the CECs.
Yeah.
You get, I think let me look it up. It's 7 CECs from ACE, AFA, NASM, SCW, NPFT, blah, blah, blah. All of them give us continuing education credits. So something really to think about.
Yeah. And then I'm going to create a cash prize because I'm going to create a pool for who burst into tears. And then the winner of that pool gets the cash. But so that's a great event. I can't wait for it. I'm super pumped. I know Josh is as well. He's been really talking to me a lot about it. So I know he's super excited for it. So, and I'll be there, and I hope all the listeners will be there as well. And all of those links will be in the show notes. Just go to trainerjim.net. Click on this episode of the podcast, and the links will be right there, and you can sign up and take advantage of it. So I always like to honor our time. So I always finish up with my favorite part of the show. I always get so excited when this part comes because I think it's some of the biggest gold in the show. So, and you talked about this earlier. So my first question to all my guests is, what has been your most successful failure? And by that, I mean, at the time seemed like a devastating loss that you didn't think you were going to be able to recover from, but you were able to take life lessons from and use that to propel you to greater success down the road.
Oh my gosh, I have 2.
Okay.
And like I'm sitting there going, what do I do?
Tell us, share them both.
Well, first, I was asked to be a Les Mills agent in the USA. 15 years ago, Les Mills decided to buy back the United States from the agent that was there and divide it up into 6 territories. And they kept one of the territories, and 5 other agents came on. We ended up being I was the only female agent worldwide in a group fitness program. So there were 48 agencies around the world that had about 80 to 100 countries at that time. So I was the only female agent worldwide. Oh my gosh, in my first year, I did everything wrong. I hired the wrong people. I tried different marketing that didn't work. Everything. I can't even begin to tell you the money that I lost. But I would not sell. I would not give up Again, I had a great team of wonderful supporters, hired more people, and then just did it. I feel like I'm going to burst into song, not tears, song. Did it my way. Very collaborative, taking everybody's ideas. And it took us a full year to finally at least get our feet on the ground. And the third year we started showing a profit, but we didn't give up. So, I mean, I just made every mistake you could ever make. I can't tell you, I never cried in front of my business people, but oh my God, did I cry at night with my girlfriends or my husband.
Yeah.
And then the second thing was.
So before you move on, so can you name like the biggest mistake that you committed and learned from in that Les Mills? If you can remember.
I know exactly what it was.
Okay.
A lot of different businesses are run very hierarchical. Like, I'm going to tell you what to do. I make this decision and you do it and you do it and you do it. And that's the way I was running my business. Like a lot of different agencies were running it. There's nothing wrong with that. That works, but not for me, because I listen to all the people in the front row who answer my phone, who are at the front desk, who are dealing with the clients. And I kind of build our structure from the ground up. Mm-hmm. So I had to learn, you know what, don't do it like everybody else is doing it. Do it the way that works for you. Okay. And that was the top down was the biggest mistake I made, and the bottom up was the way I rectified it. And it took a long time because I had to rebuild trust with this, and I don't want to say the bottom rung, but I want to say my front lines people.
Right.
Because they're like, well, you're not going to listen to me. You're going to listen to so-and-so, and I'm like, no, I value your opinion. Talk to me, dump on me, tell me how we're screwing up, and so we can fix it. So that was the number one. And we were an agent for 10 years, and we were the only agency that was from the original 5 to the last 2 that were purchased back by Les Mills International. And they were such a wonderful company to work with, and it was such a really wonderful learning experience. And they've been sponsoring MANIA conventions for the past, 5-6 years. So it turned out to be a very positive, happy ending,
Yes.
And
I like that, because we were talking about this on an earlier show, is that those are the people that are dealing with the clients day in and day out. So they have valuable information. All these policies that you're instituting up here, they're seeing how they actually work or don't work down here, and either getting frustrated with it or that it doesn't work, or their feedback isn't getting listened to. So it's important to take in those frontline troops, their information, because those are the people that they're telling you who your customers are. Are your customers happy? Are they unhappy? Is this promo working? Is this process working? All of that stuff. So it's so important to take that information in and create that two-way channel.
And I think, I'm just going to stick with that one story, because I think that that's important. I think sometimes when we're working that top down, our top people are so scared of making a mistake that they just keep pushing their philosophy and their decisions down. And I think if you lighten that load, and you're willing to say, hey, you're really right, let's try it your way, let's do this. It makes everybody feel like they're contributing more, they're able to share more. And we're constantly doing at our shows what we call learnings. And learnings for us are I don't want to say it. It's basically, what mistakes did you make?
Yeah.
And how are we going to fix it?
Yeah.
And they used to be terrified to point those out, because they thought they were going to get their friends in trouble. Oh my gosh, I can't, she runs registration, I can't get her in trouble, she'll be mad at me. No, somebody will say, hey, I think at registration, we could try this. And the registration person will say, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. It'll also make it easier for me. You know what I mean? So there's less fear, and it becomes more productive. And everybody, it's not, you're doing this wrong, do it this way. You're doing that wrong, do it this way. It's like, What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And that's how, I got to be honest with you, there's not many conventions out there that can run 8.
Yeah.
8 a year that
There-
reach 8,000 people. We
Yeah.
get between 400 and 1,400 people at each conference. It's insane, but it's a system and it's organized, and every stupid show, we look in the mirror and laugh at the mistakes we make and figure it out.
Yeah.
Try something new.
Yeah. That's an understatement. There are fitness business or conferences out there that can't even run one. And, or if they do run it, then it's not profitable. So to run 8 that are profitable, and the fact that you run 8 conventions a year in and year out, and you can't get hotel people to look you in the eye. I mean, that's just, I mean, why would, I mean, seriously? I mean, that's like, it boggles my mind. Okay. So,
or they don't think, like they'll say, if I'll talk to them about attrition, they're like, well, if you don't understand attrition, Sarah, why don't you ask Mike? And I'm like going, I'm going to stab you. So I cannot walk into a meeting with any sharp objects anymore.
That's hilarious. All right. So that's a great answer. I love it. My next question is, in your time in the fitness industry, which is extensive, what has been the biggest surprise that you've had to deal with that you didn't see coming?
God, I wish I knew these questions before you.
No, it's better if you don't.
I know. That's the biggest surprise. Uh-huh. All right, this sounds kind of silly, but this is the first thing that popped into my mind. We had, he'll still present for us once in a while, but he's pretty much on the retirement spectrum at this point. But a gentleman named Lawrence Biscontini, amazing educator, master's degree in something, The guy is really brilliant. He came in to be a presenter, and he wanted to teach aqua and strength and do a leadership presentation and do yoga and do Pilates. And I'm like, you know what? Pick a track. And I remember telling him, pick one thing. Just do one thing. And to be honest with you, my biggest surprise was I was wrong. This guy, to be a teacher, to be an educator, to be a generous person with your mind and your body and your spirit and all that other, he was phenomenal in all these different tracks. So now when we have a presenter come in that says, I want to do, like we have Andrew Gavigan, who does a lot of strength training presentations, or Giovanni Roselli, and we get them, Dane, oh my God, what's his, I think it's Robert, I'm gonna forget. Anyway, we get these like guys that are gonna do strength training presentations. I'm like, I also need you to lecture. I need you to tell people how you got to own a studio, so I like to see, I think you learn a lot from these people in different genres of fitness and lectures and activities. So that sounds kind of silly, but I think that's one of the learnings that really helps people to say, hey, I can move, but I've got a brain in my head and I know how this industry works, and I could be a manager or a director. And the managers and directors, I know where you started, babe. You started in that workout room, and I think it helps both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. That's a great answer, because sometimes there's conventional wisdom, but every once in a while you run across a situation or an individual who defies that conventional wisdom, and you have to have the insight and the courage to say, okay, we're going to let you run with this. So kudos to you for doing that. And then my last question, I'm really interested in the answer, because you run conferences about professional development, certifications, and instruction. So where do you go for your personal and professional development?
And here I go. I like podcasts. I know that sounds, no, but I do. Also, Malcolm Gladwell did a podcast. And
Revisionist History.
Revisionist History. And what I enjoy about it is it takes me also out of the fitness industry.
Yes.
And and sometimes that's really helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Going outside the fitness industry has helped me and get me to think differently. I just got his new book, Talking to Strangers,
Okay.
because a lot of times, I got to interview somebody and I got to figure out if they're right to work for our company. And I have to look at the quote unquote stranger element of it and say, are you really ever going to get to know somebody in an hour, or let alone even if you do a 4-day interview?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I do. And the other thing I do is I try to get certified in a new fitness program every year. Like whether I'm going to teach that program or not, just to stay fresh in it. And I try to go to another event. So I have to feed my soul, or I feel like I'm getting sucked dry. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. It's hard to fill other people's cup when yours is empty. But I like that because I worked, before I opened Catalyst, I worked at a one-on-one training facility for 22 years. I was the manager there. So you're absolutely right. I went from manager to owner. But there were trainers there, despite my best efforts, that never left those four walls. And I'm talking like a decade or longer, and I'm like, how could you do that? So continuing education, we really push it here. We actually subsidize a lot of the continuing education for our trainers, because I think that is so important to get out, get new input, kind of recharge your batteries, get your juices flowing. And you never know what's going to become your new passion, your new thing, unless you get out there and explore it. And I agree with you about listening to or going to non-fitness industry podcasts, events, whatever it is, because I say it all the time because it's true for me, and I think it's true for everybody. The better your off switch is, the better your on switch is. And so every once in a while, you got to turn that on off switch. You got to hit the off switch, and a lot of times my answers to the problem over here comes when I hit that off switch, so I think that's really, really important. But I always pride myself in kind of creating a reading list for my clients. So in addition to Talking to Strangers, what are the last two books you read?
Okay. Move Your Bus by Ron Clark.
Oh yeah. There was a my last client okay.
Really?
Not last client, last guest. I'm sorry.
Girl, Wash Your Face.
So what are those about?
This one, the girl, just wash your face. Stop believing the lies about who you are so you can become who you were meant to be. So don't listen to what the other people told you you're supposed to do, or even the test scores that told you you're good at something. Try to do that self-discovery and figure out what you were meant to be. And I always talk about getting people on the bus, putting them on the right seat on the bus. Sometimes I feel like that old Einstein saying is like, if you, oh my gosh, it's about a fish in a tree or whatever. You want the fish to climb the tree, you'll just frustrate the fish and whatever.
Okay.
Not, some people have really great value in certain aspects of their skill set, their educational background, their natural predisposition to either be able to write or not write, or be a visual learner and not an auditory learner, whatever. But figure out who is on your bus, where to put them in the seat on the bus, and it makes you less frustrated and makes them more fulfilled. So I like that as well.
I like that philosophy because I call it bandwidth, or another guest called it runway. But for me, the example that always comes to mind with me when you talk about that, the right seat on the bus where they're comfortable in the job and you're comfortable with them in the job, is my dog. I love my dog. My dog is awesome. He loves me. He's so happy when I come home. He loves it when I go on walks. He gives me companionship and all these things, unconditional love, all the reasons you love a dog and why they're a man's best friend. But when I've fallen and I can't get up, he's not going to be able to call 911 for me on my phone. You know what I mean? So it's foolish for me to expect him to be able to do that because he just doesn't have the capacity, you know? And so it's the same, you know, not that your employees are like dogs, but it's the same with people. It's like people have bandwidth, they have runway, they have capacities, and give them something that makes them feel fulfilled. So I agree with that philosophy 100%. So Sara, this has been great. So where in the world can people get in touch with you, find out more about MANIA, find out more about the Women's Leadership Forum?
I think I'll give you, our website is scwfit.com.
Okay.
And you could just do /mania and pick your mania. All 8 of them are up there. So you can pick all of them. And you can, when you pick one of them, when you pick a city, you can get right into our business summits as well. Mm-hmm. And all the information on the Women's Leadership Summit is there too. Okay. Or you could just go directly to our business, scwfit.com/business. And that'll give you all the information you want on our business summits, or scwfit.com/women. And we've got information on all our women's forums, and we even put up AFS's Women Forum on there. So you can just pick your city, pick where you want to go. So it's scwfit.com/mania/business or /women. And frankly, if you want to reach me, I answer every info@scwfit.com. Okay. I always get those. And I've got my own little website, SaraKooperman.com, which is with no H and with a K.
Okay.
So you're whatever. I should have bought like 4 different websites because my name is such a pain in the butt to.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I think it's a common mistake. At least I want to believe it's a common mistake because I made it, but which I apologize for. But so all of those links will be in the show notes. As I said earlier, go to trainerjim.net and click on this episode of the podcast and click away on the links wherever you want to go. And also will be on the AFS website, afsfitness.com, or you can go to succeedwithafs.com. Sara, this has been awesome. Thanks for taking the time because I know you're a busy lady.
Thank you so much. And Jim, I really appreciate your flexibility. You were so wonderful. I was skiing in Colorado and I kept getting my mountain time and my central time all messed up. So
I'm the worst with that. I have to have an actual time zone map in front of me. And then I still have to get my crayons out to say, okay, it's 2 o'clock here, 1 o'clock. So no problem at all. I'm glad it worked out.
Crayons. At least I use magic markers. All right.
All right. Thanks, Sara. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
All right. Bye. Oh, and Sara, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push your episode ahead because I want it to out in advance of the Succeed conference. So yours is going to be the first episode in March. So I'll let you know when it's getting ready to air and all of that. And I'll send you all of the stuff that you can use to promote it through your network.
Yeah, and I'll promote it through SCW. We got a big email list.
I know. Yeah, you told me. That's awesome. Great. Okay,
cool.
So I'll send that to you when it's ready to go.
And thanks again for your flexibility. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. No problem at all. No need. All right. Thanks, Sara.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.